Hello, everybody. This is The Psychology of the Unconscious by Carl Jung. Part 2, Chapter 1, Aspects of the Libido. Before I enter upon the contents of this second part, it seems necessary to cast a backwards glance over the singular train of thought which the analysis of the poem The Moth to the Sun has produced. Although this poem is very different from the foregoing hymn of creation, closer investigation of the longing for the sun has carried us into the realm of the fundamental ideas of religion and astral mythology, which ideas are closely related to those considered in the first poem. The creative God of the first poem, whose dual nature, moral and physical, was shown especially clearly to us by Job, as in the second poem a new qualification of astral mythological, or to better express it, of astrological character. The God becomes the sun, and in this finds an adequate natural expression quite apart from the moral division of the God idea into the heavenly Father and the devil. The sun is, as Renan remarked, really the only rational representation of God, whether we take the point of view of the barbarians of other ages or that of modern physical sciences. In both cases, the sun is the parent God, mythologically predominantly the father God, from whom all living things draw life. He is the fructifier and creator of all that lives, the source of energy of our world, the discord into which the soul of man has fallen through the action of moral laws, can be resolved into complete harmony through the sun as the natural object which obeys no human moral law. The sun's not only beneficial, but also destructive. Therefore, the zodiacal representation of the August heat is the herd-devouring lion, whom the Jewish hero Samson killed in order to free the parched earth from his plague. Yet it's the harmonious and inherent nature of the sun to scorch, and its scorching power seems natural to men. It shines equally on the just and the unjust, and allows useful living objects to flourish, as well as harmful ones. Therefore, the sun is adapted as is nothing else to represent the visible God of this world, that is to say, that driving strength of our own soul, which we call libido, and whose nature it is to allow the useful and injurious, the good and the bad, to proceed. That is comparison, is no mere play of words, is taught to us by the mystics. When looking inwards, introversion, and going down into the depths of their own being, they find, in their heart, the image of the sun. They find their own love or libido, which reason, I might say with physical reason, is called the sun. For our source of energy and life is the sun. Thus our life substance as an energetic process is entirely sun. Of what special sort this sun energy, seen inwardly by the mystic, is shown by an example taken from the Hindu mythology. From the explanation of Part 3 of the Svatashvataropanishad, we take the following quotation, which relates to the Rudra. Yea, the one Rudra who all worlds with ruling power doth rule, stands not for any second. Behind those that are born he stands, at ending time ingathers all the worlds he hath evolved, protector he. He hath eyes on all sides surely hath faces, arms surely on all sides feet. With arms with wings he tricks them out, creating heaven and earth, the only God. Who of the gods is both the source and growth, the lord of all, the Rudra, mighty seer, who brought the shining germ of old into existence, may he with reason pure conjoin us. These attributes allow us clearly to discern the all-creator in him, the sun, which has wings and with 1,000 eyes scans the world. The following passages confirm the text and join to it the idea most important to us, that God is also contained in the individual creature. Beyond this world the Brahman bound, the mighty one, in every creature hid according to its form, the one encircling Lord of all, him having known, immortal they become. I know this mighty man, sun-like beyond the darkness, him and him only knowing, one crosseth over death, no one path at all is there to go. Spread over the universe is he, the Lord, therefore is all-pervader. He's benign. The powerful God, the equal of the sun, is in that one, and whoever knows him is immortal. Going on further with the text, we come upon a new attribute, which informs us in what form and manner Rudra lived in men. The mighty monarch, he, the man, the one who doth the essence start towards the peace of perfect stainlessness, lordly, exhaustless light. Without hands, without feet, he moveth. He graspeth eyeless, he seeth, and earless he heareth. He knoweth what is to be known, yet there is no knower of him. Him call the first, mighty, the man. Smaller than small, yet greater than great, in the heart of the creature the self doth repose, etc. The phallus is the being which moves without limbs, which sees without eyes, which knows the future. And as symbolic representation of the universal creative power, existent everywhere, immortality is vindicated in it. It's always thought of as entirely independent, an idea current not only in antiquity, but also apparent in the pornographic drawings of our children and artists. It is a seer, an artist, and a worker of wonders. Therefore it should not surprise us that certain phallic characteristics are found again in the mythological seer, artist, and sorcerer. Hephaestus, Violen the smith, and Mani, the founder of Manichaeism, whose followers were also famous, have crippled feet. The ancient seer Melampus possessed a suggestive name, Blackfoot, and it seems also to be typical for seers to be blind. Dwarf stature, ugliness, and deformity have become especially typical for those mysterious Chthonian gods, the sons of Hephaestus, the Kabiri, to whom great power to perform miracles were ascribed. The name signifies powerful, and the Samothracian cult is most intimately united with that of the Ithyphallic Hermes, who, according to the account of Herodotus, was brought to Attica by the Pelasgians. They are also called the great gods. Their near relations are the Idaean dactyli, finger or Idaean thumb, to whom the mother of the gods had taught the blacksmith's art. The key will scent the true place from the others, follow it down, 'twill lead thee to the mothers. They were the first leaders, the teachers of Orpheus, and invented the Ephesian magic formulas and musical rhythms. The characteristic disparity which is sown above in the Upanishad text and in Faust is also here, since the gigantic Hercules passed an Idaean dactyl. The colossal Phrygians, the skilled servants of Rhea, were also dactyli. The Babylonian teacher of wisdom, Oannes, was represented in a phallic fish form. The two sun heroes, the Dioscuri, stand in relation to the Kabiri. They also wear the remarkable pointed head covering, Peleus, which is peculiar to these mysterious gods, and which is perpetuated from that time on as a secret mark of identification. Attis, the elder brother of Christ, wears the pointed cap, just as does Mithra. It's also become traditional for our present-day Chthonian infantile gods, the brownies, the penates, and all the typical kinds of dwarfs. Freud's already called our attention to the phallic meaning of the hat in modern fantasies. Of further significance is that probably the pointed cap represents the foreskin. In order not to go too far afield from my theme, I must be satisfied here merely to present the suggestion. But at a later opportunity I shall return to this point with detailed proof. The dwarf form leads to the figure of the divine boy, the puer aeternus, the young Dionysus, Jupiter, Anxurus, Tagus, and so on. In the vase painting of Thebes, already mentioned, a bearded Dionysus is represented, together with a figure of a boy, as followed by a boy's character designated, and then again a character man, which is represented as mythos. Mythos really means thread, but in Orphic speech it stands for semen. It was conjectured that his collection corresponded to a group of statuary in a statuary of a cult. This supposition is supported by the history of the cult as far as it is known. It is an original Phoenician cult of father and son, of an old and young Kabir who were more or less assimilated with the Grecian gods. The double figures of the adult and the child Dionysus lend themselves particularly to this assimilation. One might also call this the cult of the large and small man. Now, under various aspects, Dionysus is a phallic god, in whose worship the phallus held an important place. For example, in the cult of Argivian bull, Dionysus. Moreover, the phallic Hermes of the god has been given occasion for a personification of the phallus of Dionysus, in the form of the god Phallus, who is nothing else but a Priapus. He's called comrade, fellow reveler. Corresponding to this state of affairs, one cannot very well fail to recognize in the previously mentioned Kabiric representation and in the added boy's figure. The previously mentioned paradox in the Upanishad text of large and small, of giant and dwarf, is expressed more mildly here by man and boy, or father and son. The motive of deformity, which is used constantly by the Kabiric cult, is also present in the vase picture, while the parallel figures of Dionysus are characterized. Just as formerly the difference in size gave occasion for division, so does the deformity here. Without first bringing further proof to bear, I will remark that from this knowledge especially strong sidelights are thrown upon the original psychologic meaning of the religious heroes. Dionysus stands in an intimate relation with the psychology of the early Asiatic god who died and rose again from the dead, and whose manifold manifestations have been brought together in the figure of Christ, into a firm personality enduring for centuries. We gain from our premise the knowledge that these heroes, as well as their typical fates, are personifications of the human libido and its typical fates. They are imagery, like the figures of our nightly dreams, the actors and interpreters of our secret thoughts. And since we, in the present day, have the power to decipher the symbolism of dreams and thereby surmise the mysterious psychologic history of development of the individual, so a way is here opened to the understanding of the secret springs of impulse beneath the psychologic development of races. Our previous trains of thought, which demonstrate the phallic side of symbolism of the libido, also show how thoroughly justified is the term libido. Originally taken from the sexual sphere, the world has become the most frequent technical expression of psychoanalysis, for the simple reason that its significance is wide enough to cover all the unknown and countless manifestations of the will, in the sense of Schopenhauer. It is sufficiently comprehensive and rich in meaning to characterize the real nature of the psychical entity which it includes. The exact classical significance of the word libido qualifies it as an entirely appropriate term. Libido is taken in a very wide sense in Cicero. From the good proceed desire and joy, joy having reference to some present good and desire to some future one. But joy and desire depend upon the opinion of good, as desire being inflamed and provoked is carried on eagerly towards what the appearance of good, and joy is transported and exults on obtaining what was desired. For we naturally pursue those things that have the appearance of good, and avoid the contrary. Wherefore, as soon as anything that has the appearance of good presents itself, nature incites us to endeavor to obtain it. Now where this strong desire is consistent and founded on prudence, it is by the Stoics called boulesis, and the name which we give it is volition. And this they allow to none but their wise men, and define it thus. Volition is a reasonable desire, but whatever is incited too violently in opposition to reason, that is a lust or an unbridled desire, which is discoverable in all fools. This meaning of libido here is to wish, and in the Stoical distinction of will, dissolute desire. Cicero used libido in the corresponding sense. Libido is used for arms and military horses rather than for dissipations and banquets. In another place, in a milder and more general sense, sorry, the quotations are really weird, arranged here. The use of libido is so general that the phrase libido es scria really merely has the meaning of I will, it pleases me. In the phrase aliquam libido urine lascessit, libido has the meaning of urgency. The significance of sexual desire is also present in the classics. This general classic application of the conception agrees with the corresponding etymologic context of the word, libido or lubido, with libe, more ancient lube. It pleases me, and libens or lubins, gladly, willingly. In Sanskrit, it's lubhyati, to experience violent longing. Lobhyati, excites longing. Lubdaha, eager. Lobdaha, longing, eagerness. Gothic, lius, and Old High German Liob, love. Moreover, in Gothic, Lubanes was represented as hope, and Old High German Lobon to praise, Lob commendation, praise, glory. Old Bulgarian Ljubiti to love, Ljubi, love. Lithuanian Liapsinti to praise. It can be said that the conception of libido, as developed in the new work of Freud and of his school, has functionally the same significance in the biological territory as has the conception of energy since the time of Robert Meyer in the physical realm. It may not be superfluous to say something more at this point concerning the conception of libido, after we followed the formation of its symbol to the highest expression in the human form of the religious hero.